as the day went along, just more scattered showers and storms. CocoRoz.org has our rainfall totals to start the day, and we take a look at Farmer City, where here in the northeast corner of DeWitt County received about 1/4 of an inch of rainfall. About 1/2 inch of rainfall fell in Lincoln in Logan County from the last 24 hours. Bloomington normal, the southeast side of the city, about 1/2 inch of rain, 3/4 of an inch of rain in downtown normal from yesterday, about 1/10 of an inch of rain in Leroy yesterday, also 1/10 of an inch of rain north of Bellflower along 54 in the southeast corner of McLean County from yesterday. Taking a look at Monticello, just a trace of rain in the Monticello area of Piatt County, between about 1/10, 1/5, and 1/4 of an inch of rainfall in Champaign-Urbana yesterday. In fact, in Urbana, a couple of reports between 1/3 of an inch of rain and 4/10 of an inch of rain. A trace of an inch of rain in St. Joseph on the east side of Champaign County. The Mahomet area of Champaign County received about 1/4 of an inch of rain just outside of Philo, 1/5 of an inch of rain, and a 1/4 of an inch of rain in Sidney in eastern Champaign County from yesterday. Taking a look at Macon County, no reports out of Macon County as of this morning. We mentioned Bloomington normal. Taking a look at some other parts of central Illinois from the last 24 hours. Outside of Edinburgh in Christian County, just a trace of an inch of rain. Traces of rain in Menard County as well. We move north to the Peoria area of central Illinois. Just a trace of an inch of rain, about 1/10, in fact, of rain in the Washington area in northern Woodford, or rather Tazewell County in central Illinois from yesterday. And as always, CocoRoz.org has those rainfall totals, a great resource like we did this morning. We were able to jump around the area, show you various rainfall totals in parts of the area, as well as we can backdate and even go back and look at rainfall totals from previous points in time. And you can do even a cumulative rainfall total over a range of dates. If it rains, say Friday to Sunday, you could check out how much rain fell over those 3 days. So great resource. Again, that's CocoRoz.org. That's where we always turn to here on the morning show to bring you those rainfall totals. Let's get to the news here on this Wednesday. An ongoing back and forth between a Clinton resident and a Clinton city commissioner continued Tuesday night at the Clinton City Council meeting. Seth Reddington has been addressing the Clinton City Council for a few years now regarding questionable payments and reimbursements to Clinton Commissioner of Safety Dan Ballinger. Reddington is calling for an audit on payments to Ballinger over his reimbursements for responding to fire calls, even though he is a city council commissioner.
Question for a long time. I was a commissioner on the fire department on multiple FOIA requests. The city has bylaws for that department. You must apply. Even if you're returning fireman, history, certain things in that department, certain individuals that have turned in time, been overpaid, and they've paid it back. I think the city needs to audit the hours, because I FOIA requested and received them. I did ask about on-call pay. The attorney stated there is no on-call pay. With that being said, the Apple Pork Festival, they're paid by the hour. When the calls go out, they turn in time. That would be on-call pay. With a commissioner inserting himself on the department, I think it's wrong. With the past practice of having to pay it back, I feel that he should have to pay that back to the community, to the city, because it's tax money.
Reddington contends council members referencing Ballinger should not be able to benefit from policy changes.
The other thing, I want time, the council members, whenever they make ordinances, change policies, they should not directly benefit from those until the next election. state statute clearly outlines that. There's multiple statutes out there. I can produce those for you if need be, but the city pays an attorney for a good chunk of money every year to represent you guys. So any ordinances, statutes, bylaws that are changed to directly affect one of you guys, think real hard about it. But I don't see how Commissioner Ballinger is receiving pay as a fireman when it clearly shows that he's not.
Firefighter Adam Logman called on the drama between Reddington and Ballinger to end, saying it is impacting the rest of the fire departments.
I've been on the fire department for about 3 years. I was prior service before that. I know what drama looks like, and I've seen different things over the years. That being said, that there's a lot of things that really need to come to a stop. Whereas, whatever is going on between these two gentlemen, it affects the firefighters, whether it's doing our job or outside of the firehouse. I don't know what needs to be done, but it needs to stop. Words have been said. I'm speaking on my behalf, not anybody else's. But something needs to be done about it, because it does affect us one way or the other. I joined the fire department to serve the community, just like I did when I served my country. That being said, there was some questions, voting-wise, on attendance. I'd like to make that very clear. The voting, when it came to attendance, we kind of made it a point that there had to be a certain percentage. That was made at that point in time. Some people were cut and some people had ill feelings about that. I was the one who pushed that forward, because my prior service, you have to set a standard. And we as firefighters have to have that standard to do our jobs. So that being said, I'm letting it know that that's the reason why. Basically making the statement of, we're all here to do a job, especially the firefighters, okay? But we can't do it with the drama and the fighting, and that said to that firefighter, it's got to stop. Because one way or the other, it's affecting all of us, not just two people.
Reddington took exception to the comments by Logman as he ended his time in front of the council.
Let's clarify something. Have I spoke to any of the firemen? Have I confronted you? Absolutely not. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Ballinger, Tuesday night, introduced new policies regarding reimbursement for response for fire personnel. Among those changes are Ballinger surrendering his pay for volunteer service. The changes were effective May 1.
Some changes that have happened in the fire department effective May the 1st, which was this fiscal year. I've worked with the city administrator, city attorney, and another attorney to get these in place. They've taken a lot of time to fine-tune them to get to where they are, and these are where they will be going forward, starting May 1st. White Hat, Commissioner of Public Health and Safety, continued to serve as chief when responding to any fire call above department chief in his status as Commissioner of Public Health and Safety. He will continue to direct the scene in overall charge of the responding firefighters officers. However, and I'm going to clear this up right now, by Illinois state statute, by city code, the commissioner is entitled to pay. Therefore, I'm going to continue to read. He will not be paid. I have chosen to take no pay for my volunteer service. Other volunteers in that he is serving in his elected capacity as Commissioner of Public Health and Safety. He will remain a volunteer on the roster as a member of the Clinton Fire Department, volunteer fire department. Should he no longer serve on the city council, he remains a regular volunteer of the department. Volunteers, this is a big change here. Volunteers not part-time employees anymore. Members shall be considered volunteers and not part-time employees of the Clinton Fire Department. They
at the meeting, with Commissioner John Weiss absent Tuesday. Additionally, Taylor Baxter was approved as the public health officer and Cameron Wilford as the city sexton. Also, at the Tuesday night meeting, the council approved downtown sidewalk work at a cost of just over $270,000. The council approved the purchase of 23 building lots at a cost of $612,500. And the council approved the contract of city administrator Taylor Baxter. After a day of volatile, stormy weather, a cool down should be arriving for the conclusion of the week. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln told Regional Radio a low-pressure system out west was pushing through that was causing the severe weather.
Sure, yeah. We've had a lot of storms that went through, some pockets of wind damage, but really nothing too strong. Luckily, kind of dodged a bullet there. We were expecting, more widespread severe level winds in the western half of Illinois. That really didn't pan out. Effingham, because, it could have been a lot worse. So, we've got a low pressure that's sitting to our west, and then these waves of energy are kind of wrapping around this deeper upper level low, so to speak. So, we'll get a piece of energy that triggers a bunch of storms, a line of soldiers kind of ready to go as when I say energy, it's a spin in the atmosphere. So there's pockets of spin that kind of rotate around low pressure systems. And when one of them rolls over the top of you, you get a line of storms. And then the next one comes through and you'll maybe get some bubble up storms, depending on the strength of that low wave of energy that's moving through.
It's been a wet start to May so far. Shimon indicates we'll finally get a break from the rain starting later this week. The humidity will move out, and while there is minimal chances of rain on Saturday, it's forecast to be rather pleasant.
Well, we're supposed to actually have a break finally by the end of the week. Thursday and Friday cool down after, the Wednesday cold front goes through. So, the forecast is calling for temps to drop 15 degrees, high temps or so. Much cooler for sure, and then let me see what the exact wording is here. Yeah, by Thursday we're going to be in the upper 70s, around 80 today and tomorrow. Much more comfortable. Rain chances are gone Friday. Saturday they return again. It looks like some showers crept into that forecast, but it's also showing very minimal clouds, so maybe
the early part of next week, we begin the outdoor high school sports postseason, and the warm up, and the week starts cool and should warm up as the week moves along. News time is 23 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. We've got much more coming your way next on The Morning Show.
This is Scott Baum at Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. We believe in putting customers first. That's how we started, and it's why we go the extra mile for our customers. Looking for a new or used vehicle? We have transparent pricing for new and used cars, trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. See all our pricing and pictures online at your convenience. Or come in and visit our full-service team today at Clinton or Farmer City. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
News time is 24 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. A NASCAR racing legend made a pit stop in McLean County Tuesday as a part of the 28th annual Kyle Petty Charity Ride Across America. The cross-country motorcycle ride, led by Kyle Petty and his dad Richard Petty, stopped at the Love's Travel Stop in Leroy on their way to Indianapolis. Kyle Petty, who lost his son to a tragic accident in 2000, explains why he hosts the ride.
We started this ride 28 years ago, and we used to stop at children's hospitals. And then in 2000, my oldest son, Adam, was killed in a racing accident in New Hampshire. And we started a camp called Victory Junction. It's a camp for children with serious chronic medical needs and serious life-threatening conditions. We've seen over 125,000 kids either through the camp or in our REACH program that goes to different children's hospitals all through North and South Carolina, and that's what we do. We ride motorcycles across country every year, or through different regions every year, to raise money, to find campers that want to go to the camp, because it's totally free to all kids that come, and that's why we're coming to Leroy.
The annual ride travels to raise awareness and funds for Victory Junction, a camp created to enrich the lives of children with chronic or life-threatening medical illnesses at the stop. After the first deadline to get a real ID passed, Homeland Security says next year it will be the law. A real ID is a driver's license that will allow you to board a plane in the United States. That means more people will need to get go to the Secretary of State and get a real ID driver's license. Alexei Janulia says his office is kicking off a campaign to get people signed up who need one.
As of today, only about 23.5%, or just over 3 million Illinois residents, have real ID cards. We must do better, which is why we're ringing the alarm bell again today, and why we're kicking DMV facilities and major issues at our airports.
May 7th of 2025 is the deadline, but travelers who have a passport card, or global entry card can board a plane with any of those documents. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says a recent vote to pass a war bill for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan is not perfect, but it was the bill that needed to be passed at that time.
Well, I can tell you it was a package vote, and you can pick pieces out of it and say, were you for that package? Did you want it as it was written? And the answer was no, I wanted it differently, but that wasn't the choice. The choice was a take it or leave it choice. It happens in Congress when you have so many different forces. We passed this original bill in February and had to wait months for it to come back from the House of Representatives. The elements in it that I thought were critical were providing support for the Ukrainian people. They were fighting a valiant effort against that thug Vladimir Putin. I want to beat him and stop him once and for all from taking over countries that he thinks should be part of the Soviet Union.
$61 billion is going to bolster Ukraine's fight against Russia, $26 billion for Israel and humanitarian aid to Gaza, and $8 billion to back Taiwan as they stand against China in the Pacific. It's coming soon, the USDA's first forecast of 2024 for crop production and demand. Gary Crawford has more.
Well, May is certainly a crazy time at USDA's Outlook Board.
May is the month where we put out our first official supply and demand estimates for the new crop year,
while still doing supply-demand forecasting for the old crop. USDA Outlook Board Chairman Mark Jekanowski told us that for the new crop year, they'll start by using numbers from the March survey.
So that sets the acreage, and then we apply trend yield forecasts to that to come up with a production forecast.
But that's just the supply side. Analysts also will forecast demand for the crops now being planted, including forecasts for exports and prices. It's all going to be released this Friday, both the estimates for last season's crops
and looking into the future for the new crop year.
Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
News time is 28 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. Coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Coming up on 7:30 on this Wednesday, we take a look at network news. Following the network, we get network sports, and then local sports comes your way. Clinton baseball wrapped up the 2024 Central Illinois Conference title earlier this week. It's their first conference championship on the baseball diamond in 20 years. We'll have a story on that. We've got some high school baseball and softball action to recap as well. Lincoln High School, a big win in Central State 8 play yesterday. Monticello, a big win on the softball diamond yesterday as well. Those stories coming your way next in sports. It is the WHOW Morning Show, streaming live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Jeremy House in Washington. The Israeli military says it's reopened the Kerem Shalom crossing into Gaza, but a UN agency says no aid has yet entered. An Israeli tank brigade seized the nearby Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt early Tuesday. Ukraine's president says Russia has launched a massive nighttime attack on energy facilities across Ukraine, targeting 7 regions with more than 50 miles and missiles and drones. 3 people, including an 8-year-old girl, were injured. U.S. and Philippine forces, backed by an Australian Air Force surveillance aircraft, have unleashed a barrage of high-precision rockets, artillery fire, and airstrikes, and sank a mock enemy ship as part of large-scale war drills in and near the disputed South China Sea. On Wall Street, Dow futures are down 54 points. More details at srnnews.com.
With SRN Sports, I'm Andrew Stewart. On the ice last night, the Colorado Avalanche rallied back from a 3-zip deficit to beat the Dallas Stars. Correspondent Bob Stevens is in the Big D.
Miles Wood scored on a backhander at 11:03 of overtime as the Colorado Avalanche rallied for a 4-3 win over the Dallas Stars in the opener of the Western Conference second-round series. Avs trailed 3-0 after one period, but scored 4 unanswered goals to pull out the win. As winger Miles Wood describes his game-winning goal in overtime.
Cogs just made a great play there. Just kind of chipped it through the neutral zone there and just kind of skated on it. And was just so happy that the puck crossed the goal line.
Cale Makar had a goal and 2 assists to lead the Avs. Valerie Nichushkin and Nathan McKinnon also scored. Bob Stevens, Dallas.
Also on the ice last night, the Rangers over Carolina 4-3 in double overtime. This is SRN Sports. NBA winners last night, the Boston Celtics cruised to a win over the Cleveland Cavaliers in the opener of their second round of the NBA playoff series.
The Celtics took game 1 of their Eastern Conference semifinal series against the Cavaliers, 120-95. Jaylen Brown scored 15 of his team-high 32 points in the first quarter.
We try to come out and be the harder playing team. We stick to our agenda, and we let the chips fall where they may. It's going to be tough for a team to have to beat us 4 times.
Derek White had 14 of his 25 in the third on an off night from Jason Tatum, who finished with 18 points on 7 of 19 shooting. Boston led since the midway point of the first quarter and went up as many as 26 in the fourth. Gethin Coolbaugh, Boston.
Other NBA winners last night, Oklahoma City over Dallas, 117-95. Major League Baseball winners last night in interleague play include Washington, Philadelphia, and Atlanta. With sports, I'm Andrew Stewart.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. With Clinton's win Monday over Warrensburg-Latham, the Clinton Maroons won their first conference title since 2004. Back then, Clinton was in the old Okaw Valley, but the Maroons went 8-2 in the Central Illinois Conference. In 2024, Coach Nate Ennis credits his team's positive attitude through the ups and downs of a baseball season.
And the whole season is a build-up to the postseason, right? Because it becomes a single elimination thing, and you could lose every game during the regular season, but you're still going to make it to regionals, and then you still have an opportunity to advance. So we're going to throw everything we have at them. We're back to basics right now, hitting off a tee here in practice and doing a lot of work there, trying to simplify things and make things better. But we're going to throw everything we can at them. These kids their attitudes have been great all year long, but we're going to keep staying mentally focused as much as possible. The seniors, the 4 seniors, I can't say enough about. Noah Bass, Brooks Kluver, Aiden Toohill, and Mason Walker. The 4 of them have really led this ball club because you can see I've got experience with teams I've been a part of that I played with. or coached, that the seniors start to move on to the next thing. And it's tough to stay engaged when you get to the end of the school year and you're talking about college and summer and all of that. These guys have really stayed in it, and they have done so much to keeping the sophomores engaged and helping them grow. And Colton Walker, too, is a junior. He's our only junior. He's helped these kids stay engaged, shown them leadership that really has carried us to this point in the season, and hopefully will carry us for a couple more weeks.
The Maroons start regional play next week, and Clinton is in perhaps the toughest subsectional in Class 2A. That's the assessment of Coach Ennis, who indicates his team is going to have to play well to get through Tri-Valley and possibly Monticello in Monticello next week.
Well, there's no easy draw on this subsectional. I mean, it's probably one of the best subsectionals in 2A. 2A is loaded, and this sub is quite loaded too. Tri-Valley's no good draw. They beat Monticello this year. They've lost a few games, but they're hot right now. They're playing well. They beat Monticello in a 2-1 ball game. They've got an ace too, so we're excited to get anybody. We're happy to be in a position where we earn the 5 seed, but we'll go over to Monticello, play on their spectacular turf, and hopefully put our best foot forward and see what happens. And in fact, whenever we do the seedings, coaches submit comments, and based off what I saw from the other teams in our sub and their record and then their strength of schedule, I felt like we were a 5 or a 6 seed.
Yeah.
So it seemed like we were solidly placed where we should be.
The Maroons head to Monticello to get a preview of its regional next week. They take on the Sages at the Wilkie Complex on Monticello's new turf baseball field. Game time is 4:30 p.m. Hear today's action on WHOW, WEZC, and at DeWittDailyNews.com, as well as all of WHOW's digital platforms. Lincoln put away Decatur MacArthur with a 12-run fourth inning for a 16-4 5-inning run rule Central State 8 conference win yesterday in high school baseball action in Lincoln. Trey Schilling and Jarrett Evers drove in 3 runs apiece. Evers was 2 for 2 with a double, a stolen base, and 3 runs scored, while Schilling was 2 for 3 with a double and a run scored. Michael Lucas finished 2 for 3 with 3 stolen bases, 3 runs scored, and drove in 2. Drew Hayes was 2 for 4 with a double, 2 RBIs, and stole a bag for the Rail Splitters. Brendan Worth drove in a run, and Dylan Hayes doubled and stole a base as well for Lincoln. Ferguson struck out 8 in 3 innings of work. He allowed 4 runs. 2 were earned on 2 hits with 2 walks. The Rail Splitters have won 12 of its last 14 games to go to 17-8 overall and 5-3 in the Central State 8. Lincoln hosts Pleasant Plains today, who wrapped up the Sangamo Conference Championship on Tuesday. Cassidy Stoffels' big day at the plate paced Monticello to a 13-2 romp over Mahomet Seymour in non-conference high school softball action in Monticello Tuesday. Stoffel was 3 for 4 with a pair of home runs, 7 RBIs, and added a stolen base for good measure. Zadie Walsh was a home run short of the cycle as the sophomore went 3 for 4 with a double, triple, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. Marissa Miller went 3 for 3 with an RBI and 3 runs scored. Lindsay Treebaum finished 2 for 3 with a run scored for the Lady Sages. Reese Patton fired 5 innings of 2-run ball. The senior capped off her regular season home career, permitting 6 hits but did not walk a batter and did not record a strikeout. Monticello moves to 17-12 overall. They will host Mattoon to wrap up the regular season this afternoon. Zach Eflin allowed a run on 6 hits in 7 innings as the Tampa Bay Rays beat the Chicago White Sox 5-1 Tuesday night for their 5th consecutive win in a game heard here on WHOW. Randy Arizarena and Isaac Paredes homered for the Rays, who move over 500 at 19-18. Eflin lost the shutout when Paul DeYoung homered with 2 outs in the 7th. The AL worst White Sox have dropped the first 2 games of the series to fall 20 games under 500, equaling a season high. Chicago swept a 3-game series from the Rays at home, April 26th through the 28th. It is the worst 36-game start in White Sox history. White Sox right-hander Chris Flexen and Rays right-hander Aaron Cavalli are today's starters. Cavalli has allowed 18 runs in 13 2/3 innings over his last 3 starts. Michael Busch led off the ninth inning with a game-ending home run. Cody Bellinger went deep in his return from broken ribs as the Cubs beat the Padres 3-2 Tuesday night. Bellinger had 3 hits after missing 2 weeks. He gave the Cubs a 1-0 lead when he connected leading off the fourth against Randy Vasquez. Shota Imanaga was in line for his 5th straight win before the Padres broke through in the 8th inning. Imanaga gave up a leadoff single to pinch hitter Luis Arias, who just arrived from Miami. Jurix and Profar chased him with a 2-run drive that just cleared the left field wall. Cubs starters had gone 4 straight games without allowing a run, the first time in franchise history that has happened in the same season, according to team historian Ed Hardig. The Padres had a man on third with 2 outs in the inning when second baseman Nico Horner raced back to make a lunging grab on a Xander Bogaerts bloop, saving a run. The Cubs tied the game in the bottom half when Mike Tauchman walked to lead off against Yuki Matsui, who took third on Bellinger's single and scored on Christopher Morel's sac fly. Hector Neris pitched out of a jam in the 9th when he retired Jackson Merrill on a pop fly with runners on first and second. Busch won it in the bottom half when, in a driving rain, he knocked the first pitch he saw from Enyel De Los Santos out to right for his first career game-ending homer. He got mobbed by teammates as he crossed home plate. Imanaga came through with another solid outing, allowing 2 runs and 7 hits, striking out 8 and walking 1. The Japanese left-hander's ERA went from .78 to 1.08 in his 7th big league start, thanks to the home run from Profar. Imanaga pitched out of a first and second jam in the 6th. He struck out Manny Machado and Bogaerts, then smacked his glove and pumped his fist as he walked off the field while the crowd roared. It was a sweet return for Bellinger, who fractured 2 ribs on his side when he ran into the center field wall at Wrigley Field trying to make a play against the Astros on April 23rd. The 2019 MVP had been heating up prior to the injury, going 10 for 30 with 3 homers and 7 RBIs in an 8-game stretch. Right-hander Dylan Cease makes his first start in Chicago since the Sox traded him to San Diego. Hayden Wisniewski gets the ball for the Cubs. The 28-year-old was one of baseball's best pitchers in 2022, but struggled last season, and the White Sox dealt him to the Padres in March. Brandon Nimmo hit a 3-run home run that sparked a 6-run 5th inning in the New York Mets rally to beat the Cardinals 7-5 on Tuesday night. The Cardinals not only dropped their 4th straight game, but also lost catcher Wilson Contreras to a broken left forearm in the 2nd inning after he was hit by J.D. Martinez's swing. Contreras, a 3-time All-Star, is hitting .280 with a team leading 6 home runs and 12 RBIs. Jose Butto allowed 3 runs in 5 innings as the Mets won their 2nd consecutive game. All 3 runs he permitted came in the first, but Butto retired 9 of his last 10. He yielded 5 hits, struck out 3, and walked 3. Cole Sulcer gave up a homer to Alec Burleson in the 6th. Jorge Lopez pitched out of a bases-loaded jam in the 7th, and Reed Garrett worked a scoreless 8th for New York. Adam Ottavino allowed a solo homer to Lars Nootbaar, but earned his first save of the season. Nimmo's 3-run homer off Michaelis, a 440-foot drive to straightaway center, tied the game at 3 in the 5th. Nimmo hit a go-ahead homer on Monday, also making a diving catch in the outfield to rob Nolan Gorman of a hit in the 4th. Nimmo's dinger was the 3rd of his 6 straight hits to start the inning as the Mets sent 11 batters to the plate in the 5th. Pete Alonso ended a slump of 1 for 32 and 2 for 39 with a 2-run double and scored on Martinez's single to give New York the 6-3 lead. Alonso then added a homer off Chris Roycroft, who was making his major league debut in the 9th. Brendan Donovan drove Butto's 4th pitch 407 feet over the right center field wall. It was his 2nd career leadoff homer. The Cardinals plated 2 more in the 1st inning on Nolan Arenado's sac fly, and an RBI single by Burleson made it 3-0, but Michaelis allowed 6 runs and 9 hits in 4+ innings. After the game, the focus was on Contreras. St. Louis right-hander Sonny Gray opposes Jose Quintana in the finale of the 3-game set today. Gray's ERA is the lowest for a Cardinals pitcher in his first 5 starts with the team since 1919. Quintana threw a season-high 8 innings against St. Louis on April 28th. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Cloudy skies expected today with a chance for storms. Highs around 80. Southeast winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies tonight. Storms likely. Lows dip down to about 56. High temperatures reach up to 65. Tomorrow, slight chance of thunderstorms. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently 59.
Come out to the Farming in the 50s Antique Tractor Show in Argenta, and WHOW, the big 1520 AM, 92.3 FM radio, would like you to join us for a live broadcast from this event. The Farming in the 50s Antique Tractor Show is happening Saturday, May 11th from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. in Argenta.